Daniel hadn't planned on renting out the spare room. That room still smelled faintly of lavender detergent and old memories. It used to be his wife's tiny home office. After she passed, he shut the door and pretended it didn't exist. But grief doesn't pay bills. Between daycare fees, groceries, and rising rent, Daniel found himself counting coins at the kitchen table late one night while his 8-year-old son Leo slept in the next room. That's when he opened his laptop and typed out a simple ad. Single dad renting spare room. Quiet home. Near college. He almost deleted it. Instead, he pressed post. 3 days later, Maya arrived. She stood on the porch with a faded backpack and a small rolling suitcase, her shoulders tense like she expected to be turned away. She looked younger than he imagined, maybe 19 or 20, with tired eyes and careful manners. "Hi, I'm Maya," she said softly. Daniel showed her inside. The house felt awkwardly silent, every footstep echoing. Leo peeked from behind the hallway wall, clutching his toy dinosaur. "That's my son," Daniel explained. Maya knelt immediately to Leo's level. "Hey, I like your dinosaur," Leo beamed. Something in Daniel's chest loosened. The room was small but clean. Single bed, narrow desk, one window facing the street. Maya walked around slowly, touching the desk, opening the closet, nodding to herself. "It's perfect," she said, though Daniel knew it wasn't. They went over rules at the kitchen table. No loud parties. Rent due on the 1st. Leo's bedtime was 8. Maya listened carefully, hands folded, eyes down. She paid the first month in cash. That night, Daniel lay awake listening to unfamiliar sounds. Soft footsteps, a door closing, the faint hum of Maya's phone through the wall. He wondered if he'd made a mistake letting a stranger into his home. In the morning, he found Leo eating cereal beside Maya while she helped him sound out words from a school worksheet. Daniel froze in the doorway. Maya looked up, startled. "I hope it's okay." He said he needed help. Daniel nodded, suddenly unable to speak. For the first time since his wife's death, the kitchen felt alive again. He didn't know it yet, but renting that spare room was about to change all three of their lives. The changes were subtle at first. Daniel noticed them in quiet moments. The trash taken out before he remembered, dishes drying neatly on the rack, Leo's backpack already waiting by the door each morning. Maya never made a show of helping. She just did. Some evenings, Daniel came home from work to find Leo sprawled on the living room floor with crayons and worksheets while Maya sat beside him, patiently guiding his small hand. "No, buddy," she'd say gently. "That's a B. Try again." Leo listened to her in a way that surprised Daniel. It made him grateful and uneasy. He told himself she was just being kind. Maya kept mostly to herself. She studied late into the night, headphones on, lamp glowing softly under her door. Sometimes Daniel heard her pacing. Sometimes quiet sobs, quickly muffled. Once, while passing her in the hallway, he noticed dark bruises along her forearm. "Are you okay?" he asked carefully. She pulled her sleeve down instantly. "Yeah, I bump into things." Her smile didn't reach her eyes. Daniel wanted to push, but he didn't. He'd learned after losing his wife that people shared pain only when they were ready. Still, something felt off. Letters started appearing in the mailbox addressed to Maya. Thick envelopes. Official looking. Daniel saw her glance around before slipping them into her bag. A few days later, he found one torn open and shoved deep into the kitchen trash. He didn't read it. He pretended he hadn't seen it. But the house carried tension now, like a low hum under everything. One night, Daniel woke to the sound of crying. It was barely audible, coming from Maya's room. He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at the wall, unsure what to do. Leo slept peacefully beside his stuffed bear. Daniel remembered all the nights he'd cried silently after his wife died, afraid to wake his son. He understood that kind of loneliness. The next morning, Maya acted normal. Too normal. She made pancakes for Leo. Packed her books. Thanked Daniel for letting her stay. Her voice was steady, practiced. But her hands shook when she picked up her coffee. Daniel watched her walk out the door, backpack slung low, shoulders tight. That afternoon, Leo asked, "Dad, is Maya sad?" Daniel hesitated. "I think she's carrying something heavy," he said. Leo nodded seriously. "Maybe she needs help. Daniel didn't answer, but for the first time, he wondered if opening his home had also opened the door to someone else's storm. It happened on a Thursday evening. Daniel had just finished helping Leo with homework when the doorbell rang, sharp and impatient. He wasn't expecting anyone. Through the peephole, he saw a tall man in a dark jacket, jaw clenched, eyes restless. "Yes?" Daniel asked, opening the door only halfway. "I'm here for Maya," the man said. His voice was cold. "She owes me." Daniel felt his stomach tighten. "She's not available." The man tried to peer past him into the house. "Tell her to come out. She can't hide forever." Daniel stepped forward, blocking the doorway completely. "You need to leave." The man laughed softly. "You don't know who you're protecting." Daniel didn't respond. He closed the door and locked it, his heart pounding. From the hallway, Maya stood frozen, face drained of color. "That was him," she whispered. Daniel sent Leo to his room with instructions to put on his headphones. Then he sat Maya down at the kitchen table. Her hands trembled so badly she had to wrap them around her mug. "I didn't want to drag you into this," she said. Daniel waited. Tears finally spilled. She told him everything. Her stepfather had controlled her money since she was 16. When she left for college, he demanded repayment for raising her. When she refused, the threats began. He showed up at her dorm, sent legal letters she didn't understand, grabbed her arm once in public when she tried to walk away. She ran. The bruises weren't accidents. Daniel listened in silence, jaw tight, fists clenched beneath the table. "You don't deserve any of that," he said quietly. He called a friend who worked in legal aid. Then he helped Maya document everything, photos of bruises, saved messages, timestamps. They filed a police report online and started paperwork for a temporary protection order. Maya kept apologizing. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring danger into your home." Daniel shook his head. "You didn't bring it." He did. Later that night, Leo padded into the kitchen in his pajamas. "Is Maya okay?" She knelt and hugged him, crying into his shoulder. Daniel watched them and felt something unfamiliar bloom inside his chest, not romance. Resolve. He had lost his wife. He had almost lost himself. He wasn't about to let someone else be broken in his house. That night, Daniel slept on the couch with his phone beside him. For the first time in years, he wasn't just surviving. He was protecting. The weeks that followed felt strangely quiet. The man never returned. Maya received confirmation of a temporary protection order, and Daniel's legal aid friend helped her apply for emergency housing through her college. Slowly, the tension in the house began to fade. Maya started sleeping through the night. Daniel noticed the change first in the mornings. She no longer startled at sudden sounds. Her shoulders weren't constantly drawn up around her ears. Sometimes she even hummed while making tea. Healing, Daniel learned, happened in small, almost invisible steps. Leo stayed close to her whenever she studied in the living room, building Lego towers beside her chair or asking endless questions about college life. "Do you have homework every day?" "Almost." Maya laughed. "That's terrible." She smiled at Daniel, and for the first time, it reached her eyes. 2 months later, Maya was approved for student housing. They packed her things on a Sunday afternoon. The spare room looked empty again, stripped back to bare walls and quiet air. Daniel felt a familiar ache, but it wasn't grief this time. It was gratitude. Before she left, Maya handed Daniel a folded envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter. "Thank you for believing me when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for giving me safety when I had nowhere else." Daniel cleared his throat and folded it carefully. Leo wrapped his arms around Maya's waist. "You're still coming to visit, right? Every weekend if you'll have me," she said. They kept that promise. Maya came by with grocery bags and stories about classes. Daniel sent her home with leftovers. Leo started calling her his big sister, and no one corrected him. They never crossed lines. There was no romance, no dramatic confessions. What grew between them was quieter trust. One evening, as Maya walked back to the bus stop, Daniel watched from the porch while Leo waved wildly beside him. "You helped her," Leo said. Daniel shook his head gently. "She helped herself. We just gave her a place to stand." Later that night, Daniel sat alone in the living room, thinking about how close he'd come to leaving that spare room locked forever. He realized something important. Family isn't always who you start with. Sometimes it's who finds you when you're both hurting, and chooses kindness anyway. And sometimes, opening your door doesn't just change someone else's life. It changes yours too.